How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a revised go-over of the Longship Designs Flashbang pouch. Reason why I'm revising it is because my previous take of this video, the audio quality was really bad, the video quality was really bad. All in all, the video was just bad in my opinion, so I figured I'd remake it in this current setup, and then from this point on, all my videos will be going over new setups, new pieces of gear, and will not be revised videos. Just figured I'd get this one out of the way so all my videos are caught up in this setup. So without further ado, let's get into the pouch itself. It is a Longship Designs Flashbang pouch. This is the older generation of this pouch. They've since be rid of this design and have gone with a new design that is made by Unobtainium Gear. This design is no longer made, however you can still find it on eBay, some other websites, but it is kind of in limited supply now because it's not being made. I haven't had a chance to get my hands on the new design that's made by Unobtainium Gear, so I can't say if it's better or worse than this design, but I can say that since I've had this pouch over almost 2 years at this point, that I really like this pouch, and it could do a lot more things than just holding flashbangs. So to start, I'll give you a brief overview of the pouch, showing you its features, and then showing you some of the items it could hold, what it's labeled to hold, and some other items that I've discovered over the lifetime that I've had this pouch. So let's begin. It's closed by this Velcro flap, that on the front of this flap here, you've got a little kind of grippy texture. Not sure if that'll pick up on camera, but it's a little rough. I'm not sure if that's the right way to describe it, but it's kind of bumpy, so it's nice and easy to get a grip on it, which is really nice. Flap goes over the top of the pouch here and is retained by shock cord, so it gives it some stretch, and you can also just completely remove the flap if you want to solely use the elastic. Which brings me to the sides of the pouch, which are complete elastic like this. It's a lot of stretchy elastic material, which allows you to expand and fit multiple different sizes of items, which is really nice. And then finally, the back has your MOLLE, which is attached via a malice clip, Velcro one wrap, any kind of system you could kind of fit through the single column and 3-row space you've got here. You've got a little adjuster, so you can adjust the amount of length to the shock cord, make it tighter or shorter to adjust your flap. And then you've got your tag here, which is a Longship Designs tag, and then I use it to store the end of the shock cord just so it's not flopping around. Now I'll show you some of the items it can hold, starting out with what it was labeled to hold. So first off, as in the title, flashbangs. Here's just a replica 9-bang grenade, not a real one. Don't have any of those on hand, unfortunately. However, can hold this really well. With the spoon inside the pouch, I'd recommend doing this with your any kind of throwables you have, whether that be flashbangs, smoke grenades, frag grenades, if you got your hands on frag grenades, just to keep that spoon a little bit more protected so it isn't being bumped around. Boom, just like that. Got pretty much full Velcro adhesion. Even with this flap, I could tighten this flap down a little bit more so the flap sits a little better. However, it still holds it really well. Quick and easy to pull out this flashbang. Used to use this for flashbangs. However, I've since adapted to using tourniquets, which they showed on their website. It can hold a cat tourniquet and any other similar size tourniquet really well. I have this mounted on my belt with a tourniquet inside of it, just like that. Holds your cat tourniquet really well. Nice, low profile, and an easy way to keep a cat in a quick and easy way. So that's really all they advertise this pouch of being able to hold, is your flashbangs, tourniquets. However, there are a couple other items that it can hold. First one here is a 40mm grenade. This isn't going to be the best example just because it's already been fired. There's no shell on it. If there was a shell, the lip would sit at the top of the elastic, and it would sit pretty well. Even if it didn't hang all the way down, the lip would keep it at the top so it's easy to pull out. this would be a good pouch for your large 40mm grenades. Probably not your HE rounds or your shotgun ones for your airsoft 40mm, but your longer ones would fit pretty well in here. The next thing that surprised me because of how small this pouch is a 5.56 magazine. Here's just an airsoft mag. The elastic, there's so much elastic that it could stretch around this magazine, and you can even close that flap over the top. You could adjust the shock cord so you have full Velcro adhesion if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend buying this pouch for M4 magazines just because of the limited MOLLE real estate. Is going to make this pouch probably a little loose on what you mount it on. However, in a pinch, if you need a plus up on ammo, you can throw a magazine in here, and it's a pretty quick and smooth exertion from the pouch. So that's another thing it can hold, and it could even hold a P-mag. So here's just a P-mag. Can hold one of those. I don't have the shock cord adjusted loose enough that the Velcro flap will close. However, that elastic is definitely tight enough that if you are running a P-mag, that elastic will keep it retained. So that is another thing you could hold in this pouch. That's about all I have on hand in terms of items this pouch can hold. However, if you could think of anything that's similar sizes to these items here, it'll probably fit in this pouch. I don't think it's able to hold your larger smoke grenades. Those are a little too chunky. However, your smaller items like these, this can hold really well. It is a little loose if you're running pistol mags in here, just because of how wide it is. But again, in a pinch, it'll work. That's really about all I have for this pouch. Not a whole lot to go over. Kind of a brief explanation of it all. And before I go, I've been doing this for a while now, is I like to name all my public subscribers that have subscribed since my most recent video. And this time there are quite a few. There is 6. Red Flannel Guy, GS Rostov, Isaac Duke, Dennis Miller 1217, Champion, and Lil Mousy. If I pronounced any of your names wrong, I apologize. I've never been really good with names, but there's that. I appreciate all of you for subscribing. If you're not subscribed, I appreciate you for just watching this video. I hope you find it entertaining and kind of takes your mind off things for a bit. Just gives you something to do. And as always, I hope you all have a great rest of your day.